Hello, everybody. My name is Gamora, and today we will be reviewing our seventh installment of the first season of Bubble Guppies. Season 1, Episode 7 The Moon Rocks. In this episode, the Bubble Guppies watch a planetarium show. The class also learns about planets. Now, this episode, I really love it so much. It's so nostalgic to me. I feel like when I was younger, any show that talked about space, I was in. I love space. And I love space, and I still do, you know? So it starts with Goby collecting rocks on his way to school, and he shows off his rock collection to the viewers, which I actually wanted a rock collection when I was younger, because all of his rocks he collected is really really cool. And then he sees two scientists um that are across from him looking at the moon through a telescope, and then he looks through the telescope, and then he learns that the from the scientists that there are rocks on the moon, which is pretty cool. And then before he heads back to school, this is a running gag, by the way. The scientist is like, "Goby, aren't you forgetting something?" And then he's like, "Oh yeah, my rock collection," which I thought it was really cute. You know, it shows that kids his age can sometimes be forgetful, and luckily there's always an adult to remind them of things kids are forgetting, instead of saying, "Don't forget this, don't forget that." Like, like a little reminder, which I think is really cute. So then when he gets to school, he explains about what he saw, and he tells the others about the fact that there are rocks on the moon in outer space. And then he said that he got to look through a telescope. And then Gil says that he wishes that they had a telescope so they can look at the rocks on the moon. And then Mr. Grouper says, you don't really need a telescope, because sometimes you look at the stars looking up." And then they talk about the questions and stuff, like what you can see in the moon. And also we have the question about, about the sun being a star. And it turns out it's the biggest star in our solar system, because it is a star. It just looks bigger to us because it's more closer to us. And I like how Dima says far out, which I use that phrase a lot. And then um comes my favorite song of the series, like, "Sun, beautiful sun, we move around you slowly, 'cause you're our only one. In the sun, we look up your light as it turns to night. Then stars appear, they twinkle away. I wish I may, when night falls as you rise, our beautiful sun." That song still slaps to this day. And we even get a reprise of it in this episode, but we'll talk about that later. And then, which is one of my favorite shop segments, the Moon Pizzeria. Like, when I tell you, I wanted to be there so bad with Nani and Gil. Like, a pizzeria inspired by outer space. Like, to my kid brain, I was drawn in, my mouth was watering, like, oh my god, I need that. And it talks to kids about, they want to share the pizza equally, so they have to split in half. And I like it how the lesson is, like, it doesn't matter which way you cut it, if you get the slices off different sides, it's still gonna have the same amount that you want, which I like that. And then we have the lunch joke, which Dima got an ice cream sundae. Like, I can't think of ice cream sundaes without thinking about that joke. Like, that lunch joke is still engraved in my mind. And then we have a Marlon Gill segment, and then Gil's looking at the stars. Gil's looking at the stars. Oh, I forgot to mention in the beginning, before the intro, he sings "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," which is actually really really cute. And then a little crab says "pizza," and then he said, "Oh, that's for me." And it turns out he got a little bit hungry while looking at the stars, and the stars are literally starfish, like on the background of the Molly and Gil segments. Like, literally, they're sticking to the background. And then the minute he mentions pizza, the little starfish are going crazy. They're like, "Pizza, pizza, pizza!" And then they are chasing after him, which is really really funny. And then Una invites Molly over, to the classroom because they're playing outer space. And then I like the little detail of how Goby's not really playing; he's just like organizing his rocks, which I think is a really cute detail. It shows that other kids will be interested in their own little hobbies, that's honestly a nice detail. And then Dima and Gil, they're upstairs orbiting around Mr. Grouper, and then Mr. Grouper is the sun, and he changes the color to a yellowy color, which is the sun. Which I love it when Mr. Grouper changes his color. Like, that's super duper cool. And then Mr. Grouper explains that Earth is a planet, a giant ball, technically. And I like how Demon's like, we live on a giant ball? And then and then when I first heard it, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. And then we talk about, they have another question segment. They talk about the planets we have, I feel like but I feel like the song "Some Beautiful Sun" explained the planets like much better. Like, Jupiter is gassy and Venus is bright, Mercury's hot, Neptune's cold, but Earth is just right. Like, I'm sorry, I can help myself. And then we have our storybook segment, which is of it's called Space Alien Chase, which is of Una and Dima and their little aliens. Fun fact: this is not the first time. This won't be the first or last time. This won't be the last time we see them as aliens. Season 3. So then they decide that they want to take a nap, and then we have the space alien. And I swear, the space alien, his little blah, 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 made me laugh so hard as a kid. And they go to different planets like Nep no Jupiter, and they can't go there because Jupiter is hot. And then Una's like, we better get out of here before we get cooked. And then they head over to Neptune, and then Dima's like, we can't stay here or we'll turn into ice. And I like how when it comes to the viewers, how they should pick the perfect planet. I like how there's a little fish alien, like, that's super duper cute. It's adorable. And then when they finally head to Earth, they finally getting cozy, but then the alien finds them. And this is the first time in the series where we see Dima like getting very aggravated with the antagonist villains. Like, whenever Dima gets like this, I'm like, oh, you go, girl, you go. Show them that you're not for play. Like, show them. And she says stompingly, I had just about enough of this. And she says, hey, space alien, what's the problem? Can a space alien take a nap? Like, you show them you're not for play, Dima. That's why I love this Guppy. I love her. When she gets to her point, she's like, that's it. I'm going to tell them who's boss. I'm going to tell them who not to play with, because no one plays with me or my bestie. I will say, Una, along with Molly, her and Una are the cutest gal pals. Whenever they're together on screen, they're adorable. And it turns out that he's actually cranky. And I like how Demon's like, Una, please get up the space blankies. And then they all take a nice little nap, and that ends their story. And then it's finally the field trip segment. No. Sorry. Before that, we have another Molly and Gil segment, and then Gil is talking about like the biggest planets, and then he whispers to Molly like, "What's the biggest planet?" And Molly's like, "Jupiter." But Gil, I don't think. And then he doesn't listen, goes with his plans, and then a big freaking Jupiter ball rolls. I'm talking about rolls, about to roll him over. I'm talking Indiana Jones style roll. And then we have the field trip segment, and they make it to the planetarium, which I have to say, as a kid, it amazed me so much. And then this part of the episode, I cannot watch without the lights. I cannot watch this part of the episode without the lights off, because it just amazed me so much. And I feel like the reprise of this song, Beautiful Sun, did it like 2 times better. Two times better. And it turns out, after all that, they kind of get lost, which I'm kind of confused about. Like, I don't know if that was part of the presentation or if that was actually a thing. I don't know, because the actual part of the planetarium like went up like it was a flying saucer. So I want to guess it's high tech things in this world that apparently happen all the time. I don't know. It turned out they get lost, And then the viewers help out about where's Earth at, and I like they're like, Earth, beautiful Earth. Like, that's really sweet. That's really, really sweet. And then they finally make it back, and then they're on their way home. And then once again, quite cutely, the scientist is like, Goby, aren't you forgetting something? And he's like, rock collection. But then Mr. Cooper suggests that he open it up for some reason. And then he opens it up, and then he finds another rock, a rock he didn't put there. And then it's actually a moon rock. And he's so amazed. And Mr. Grouper, at the camera, he says, I wonder where that come from, as he winks. Does he have something to do with that moon rock? Or is it just me? I'm not sure. But I'm happy Goby got that moon rock. So then, our last Molly and Gil segment of the episode, Gil is an alien. The same style of aliens how Dima and Una were in the story earlier. And then he's like, and then Molly plays along. He's like, she's like, okay, alien, where do you come from? And then he's like, she finally says, is it Jupiter? And then Gil says, yes, it is Jupiter. And then, once again, the Jupiter rolls after him. And that ends our episode. So overall, I love this episode. This has to be one of the best ones for me out of this whole show. Not just the season, but the whole show. I love it so, so, so much. It is getting a 10. I love it so much. I love it. I adore it. It is so, so much fun. Anything space involved, I love it. I love it. So tune into our next episode, which is also another favorite of mine. Season 1, episode 8. Who's gonna play the Big Bad Wolf? Or, as they say in the title card, who's going to play the Big Bad Wolf? I don't know. I'll talk about that misconception when we get there. But yeah, see you next time.